watching Inside the Invaders. I'm Jay Stemman along with the coach Brent Lundgren. And right now we're going to talk a little bit about Week 2 matchup versus the Minneapolis Warriors. Probably the toughest game you guys have had in probably at least 2 years.
Absolutely. It was a great game, and the Minneapolis Warriors is a good football team. So I'm glad we played them and got it over with. We're going to have to play them one more time, but at least that part's behind us right now.
Absolutely. We started off with a real defensive struggle. You guys didn't have very good field position for most of the first half, playing a lot of times out of inside your own 10-yard line for that first quarter into the second quarter. But you guys played pretty conservative, just kind of punted the ball away. Defense held. What were your thoughts really after that first quarter with kind of just being stuck in your own end?
Well, we knew they were a good team. They came and warmed up, and that's the best traveled team to Fargo ever since I've been around, which has been a few years. I think I counted 47 guys, and I'm like, wow, they came here to play. So I knew at that point we were in for a battle. It was going to be a struggle. And we felt that the team that turned the ball over the least would probably have the best chance to win. Mm-hmm. And so part of the thing was to be conservative, let our defense, which is a good defense, let them kind of control the game a little bit. And then what we were just looking for is somebody to make a big play, something to happen, and then obviously, in the second half that did. But in the first half, even at halftime, we felt comfortable that we're still in the ball game, mm-hmm. and not that we were, the game was over at halftime by any means. And and then sure enough, they score early in the second half. So then I was like, well, now, and I posted to the guys too. I said, well, if we get behind, now we'll find out who we really mm-hmm. are and what our character is all about, and hopefully that'll show up. And we're down 9-0.
Yeah. So as we went through the first half, then the Warriors put together a drive, got a late field goal with 4 seconds left in the first half to go up 3-0. We go through a halftime. We spoke at halftime how everything was fine. I spoke to our radio play-by-play guy after talking with you and said, they feel they're close to making some things happen on offense. So we get to the second half, and things don't exactly start the way we want to. Where we kick off, second play of the second half, Minneapolis hits a 65-yard touchdown pass on basically a guy falling down on defense, and that put him up 9-0. But then after that, kind of all the breaks really went our way. They had a bad snap on the extra point, missed the extra point, and then they really didn't do much of anything offensively. They had a couple other drives that kind of stalled out. They had one, I think, when they were up 9-0, they drove and unfortunately they got a penalty. Fortunately for us, they got a penalty, backed them up 5. They missed a field goal. Game stays at 9-0. Then, as we've talked previously, we finally got that turnover that defense had been so close to all game of almost picking off a pass. They picked off a pass. Jeremy Gordon picked it off, set you guys up at the 23-yard line, and then once you got the ball, then the offensive philosophy changed a little bit and decided to kind of go with one of your bigger backs and just play smash mouth football. Is that what the idea was there?
Yeah, pretty much. The offense got some life back, and I think that gave them some confidence. And then, with Brett Bonney back at the two-back, that should give you confidence mm-hmm. anyway, him running behind you. And it just took a couple plays and we're in the end zone. And I think the guys at that point felt like, hey, we got a chance here. We can make something happen. And so that's really what we were trying to do. The first half is just try to play a field position game. And then the second half, we came back and they gave us a chance and we took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Brett Bonney scores the first touchdown, 9-7. I think a couple of other exchanges of possessions. You guys finally get the ball back in the fourth quarter. And then you go away from the power football in a sense, and you spread them out with 4 wide receivers, and you let Justin Telefaro kind of do his thing in the no huddle, kind of sped up the pace a little bit, and kind of tried to give them less opportunity to adjust to what you guys are doing on offense.
Right. Well, we wanted to do that right late in the first half. Mm-hmm. We just never got the ball back, mm-hmm. and so our game plan was to go spread them out and go no huddle. We thought defense get the ball back. We'd have about 4 or 5 minutes, and we wanted to go back and see if we could score. But then, like you said, they got the field goal with just a few seconds in the half, and so we kind of had that already thinking about when we're going to go do it. Mm-hmm. And so we just let Justin we went spread no huddle, and they really got confused. Mm-hmm. And it was cool because our players were saying, man, they're confused. And so I think it just boosted their confidence. And the key part about it was I think all 4 receivers caught passes on that, and it must have been about a 70-yard drive.
Yeah, I believe it was 65, 70 yards. I know Nick Jackson had a big catch. Jay Greenhill had a catch. I know one of the biggest catches was Kevin Irby.
Yep.
Came down with a pass, kind of bobbled a little bit, kind of made me hold my breath a little bit, but he came down with it, got it inside the 10-yard line down to the 6. Then the very next play, there's that guy again, Brett Bonney, taking the handoff up the middle and breaks another couple tackles and into the end zone for the go-ahead score.
Yeah, he had about 2 or 3 nice runs on that drive, and especially the touchdown was a big run where I think he probably got stopped on about the 3 or 2 yard line, and then he says, "Nah, I think as long as I'm this close, I'm going to get in the end zone." And he got in the end zone, and that was big right there. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Derek Bakken earlier about it, and he kind of said, you kind of scored too soon. Exactly. And I was like, at that point, we were just happy to score.
Exactly.
And then they got the ball, we had to kick off, and then obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about the rest of that part.
Yeah, it was the sideline really exploded. I know that I was obviously very pumped up when we got that score to go up 14-9. But then, like you said, there was still about 5.5, 6 minutes to go in the game when Minneapolis got the ball back, and they started driving. They got a lot of plays where they would just hit their safety valve out of the backfield, and they would check down to him, and he would get 8 yards at a time, and they kept moving the ball. Clock kept running. And I know a discussion you were having with the defensive coordinator Derek Bakken up in the booth was it was getting to the point with under 2 minutes to go where we had to start deciding whether or not we're going to call timeouts to try and conserve some time if they were to score.
Right. Yeah, and we talked about, just said, well, let's just think about this. Do we need to call timeout ourselves in case they score? We got some time left on the clock. And a few of the players said, no, our defense will stop them, and we'll be able to run the clock out. So it was cool that the players felt that way.
Absolutely.
And obviously it turned out that way.
Yeah, there was a quite the goal line stand. 4 plays inside the 5-yard line. I think there might have been one pass, maybe an incomplete, a couple other short runs up the middle, and then on 4th and 2, they tried to get it up the middle, couldn't do it, turnover on downs, and then all we had to do was run out the clock. Wasn't quite as smooth as we'd liked it to be at the end with a couple false start penalties, but still got that ball snapped, forced the Warriors to call their last timeout and got the clock running one more time and then got out of there with the victory.
Well, we got the ball back like on the 1. So you could say, well, just all we got to do is run out the clock. Well, it's a little easier said than done because you're on the 1-yard line, and if we fumble and it goes in the end zone, they fall on it. It's a touchdown for them. So we even contemplated, do we just maybe take the safety? Mm-hmm. And but the guys, we had a timeout. We went and we talked about it. They said, no, we can run the clock out. And then one time we ran a play, and then all of a sudden they yelled fumble, and I went, oh my gosh, I hope they're just guessing because that would have not been a good situation to be in.
Exactly.
But I think even one of the plays that they had where they had a receiver that it wasn't wide open, but he dropped a pass. Mm-hmm. And so I think the football gods were looking over on the Invaders on Saturday, that's for sure.
Absolutely. It was, needless to say, one of the most exciting Fargo Invader home games that we've had in many years. And hopefully they won't be quite as exciting when they're at home. They'll be a little bit more comfortable for us.
Well, we'd like it that way. I mean, we've been used to having leads and things like that, but, at least people had to stay till the very last play.
That's true.
If they wanted to see the whole game, because
exactly.
They had to, to get it all in.
For the Coach Brent Lundgren and myself, Jay Stemman, you've been watching Inside the Invaders. So until next time, yeah, you betcha. Mm-hmm. Bye.